Connected. We're at Palace Station Reno. It is Thursday night. It is the interview portion of the show. If you missed it, go back and check out the video. Elmer and the ceramic trees. Woo! Hello and welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been probably, close to a year since we last had you here.
Yeah.
Within that time, we've kind of watched you grow. Like, your stuff now pops up and stuff and invites to events and a new album. So let's kind of recap from last year to this year what you've been doing and all of that sort of exciting stuff.
Yeah, so I think it was last July I was here, and I think when I was here last time I said that the new album would be out in the fall, and then I think from there I said the spring, and then early summer, and then so I finally finished it. But yeah, so a lot of mainly working on that, on Isolation Masquerade, the new album, and then I've been playing a decent number of shows lately, a lot around Janesville, and then I'll have one in Beloit coming up with Ed Chapman, his CD release show, and then after that, Milwaukee at Sherman Park. So
awesome. When you say you've been playing out more, how are you acquiring gigs to play? Are you still going in search of things, or are people like, hey, we saw you and we want you here?
I mainly searching for things. There's been a couple, like the Arden in Madison I'd played before, and the guy who booked me there last time contacted me again. And then Sherman Park, like I've played there a couple times before, and they're always very welcoming and nice there. So, but yes, mainly having to just message places and dealing with a lot of rejection, but
that seems to be a common theme currently. Yes. Like message and spam all these people to get told no a bunch to get one gig. Hey. Yeah. So, were you starting work on that album when you were here last year, and it has taken you a year to do? Or talk about the recording process and what you've been doing with your new album.
Okay, so I think, trying to remember, I think at that point I was in the middle of recording it, maybe even mixing some of it. And I think a lot of it was just kind of as I'm working on things, maybe I sort of realize that I want a different direction for something, like a song or whatever, and then so it ends up being kind of a rebuilding process, and that happens a lot. So that's one thing, with Chemistry, for example, that song originally was, I did there's 5 different versions of that song, I guess, but originally it was for the version I was recording for that album, for the new album, it was originally an acoustic song with just a string quartet in the background. And then eventually I decided I didn't really like the acoustic in it, so then I added another string quartet, all programmed on my computer. It's not a real string quartet, I can't afford that, but so just things like that, I think, and just wanting everything to sound, I guess, as perfect as I can make it, just because I always feel and I'll probably listen back to the new album at some point and be oh, why didn't I fix this or whatever, but it's just kind of the shittiest feeling, when you spend a year of your life working on something, and then maybe you kind of half-ass something towards the end, and then you're oh, nobody's gonna notice this or anything, and then you listen back to it later and it's kind of crap, why didn't I fix that guitar there or do a different EQ on that guitar or whatever, and it can be kind of frustrating. So like I just wanted to really make sure that with as much time as I've been spending on this, that it sounded as good as I could get it, I guess.
I think it sounds amazing.
Thank you.
Like, it is, we played it, a month or so ago as like new music, and it was like, oh my God, you outdid yourself.
Thank you.
We all just sat there like, wow. And then I was really excited to pick, we played a different song, because at first we played, California on a Toothpick was the first one we played.
Yeah.
And then we played Isolation Masquerade on Tuesday, and it was like, there's not a bad song on the whole album. At least for me, there's not a spot where I'm like, yeah, you should have fixed that there, or it's weak. So me as a listener, think that you went above and beyond since the last time that you were here. It feels very mature and developed. And I know that last time when we spoke, you were like, well, here are my influences and what I kind of want to push myself to be like. I feel like you're hitting all of those things pretty good. But for those who are watching, talk about like the whole one-man everything, because you do all of it. So give them kind of a background as to you mix, you master, you record, you make all of the stuff on your computer, you do all of it. So
yeah, so yeah, it's all me. All the bass and guitar I record just in my apartment, and vocals and everything, and then the drums and the keyboards and the strings, I use my computer to program that. I don't play all of it. I'm not quite that talented, but like I do program all of it. Some of the keyboards I play myself as well. Some of the simpler parts. And then, yeah, all the mixing and mastering I do as well myself on my 10-year-old computer. And then my wife, Kari, does all of my cover art and everything like that, and helps me with the more image-based things of aspect of it. That's not something that I don't know what looks good and what doesn't look good. So she does that part of it for me.
So how did you come up with this album? Like, what was the background that made you write these songs? Because these are really kind of like make you think sort of songs. Like the one line in Chemistry where she's carrying the wooden like cross around her neck with barbed wire. You're like, oh, it's an image. You hit really good on some imagery here. So talk about like what would be your muse, or where are you coming up with this content?
So for this album, like I think except like the first album, I don't think there's really any sort of theme, just because that was kind of like stuff that I had been writing up until that point. So it's just kind of a hodgepodge, but like I do, like not really, I don't think I have any concept albums or anything, but like I do try to kind of have certain themes, I guess. And like I think for this album, a lot of it just deals with characters who are maybe having some sort of like existential crisis, or just kind of like struggling with feeling like a lack of meaning in their lives. And I guess like I was sort of with some of it thinking about like the book The Stranger kind of influenced me, and like how it's based in like the whole absurdist philosophy, I guess, and like how like the whole concept, I guess, at least to my understanding, I'm not like schooled in philosophy or anything, so this is just my simpleton's understanding, but like that, it's just like the idea that there maybe, I don't know if there's a meaning to life or not, but if there's not any sort of like objective meaning or whatever, that people just kind of spend like all their lives like trying to assign meaning to things where there's not meaning, and just the whole absurdity of it. So I think for at least some of the songs on the album, it dealt with characters kind of going through that sort of thing, and a lot of them don't necessarily deal with it in the best way possible, I would say. And some of it's quite personal and everything, like California on a Toothpick I wrote for my wife.
I know. When I heard it, I was like, I know that story.
Yeah, since she's from California and everything, so that's for her. But yeah, a lot of the songs I think are just dealing with characters trying to find meaning where there might not be meaning and struggling with that whole thing.
As you were, developing that, did you yourself question yourself, or do you feel that you've grown now in a different way?
I think I always question myself. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, like a few of them I feel like are kind of personal and sort of dealing with doubts that I have, as far as, like as an artist, I guess. Sort of just wondering, there's always like the question of like where it's hard to get gigs and where it's hard to get people to listen, where you kind of start to think, is it really this hard for everybody, or is it just that I'm, not appealing to people or whatever? So
it is hard for everybody, just so you know. There is a common theme.
So like, yeah, I do think like some of my doubts are sort of reflected in some of the songs. Other songs like Chemistry, like I can say isn't something that I have dealt with personally, but just maybe trying to be, have a sense of empathy for somebody who might not always get the benefit of that empathy, and trying to narrate from other voices as well to the best that I can or whatever. So some of it's me and some of it's not me, I guess.
When you are playing gigs, what kind of shows are they? Are you all singer-songwriters? I think before you had said that primarily you were playing with Kat out at a coffee shop. Have things kind of changed and developed where you now play and there's other full bands and there's different genres?
Yeah, it's I think most of the things I've been getting lately have been more mixed. With like in Madison at the Art, and there were, I think it was like there were like 2 rock bands, and then a couple or one singer songwriter, and then Squid, who you've had on here, I know, who's like kind of a one-man band type deal too.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been more of a mix like that lately, which has been nice. But yeah, it's always like I kind of feel like I'm sort of like in the middle of things sometimes, like where I don't know that, like, since I'm not like a full band, and I don't have like I have some more upbeat songs, but like I feel like I might not fit in with a certain audience, but then I don't know how well I fit in with like the more folk oriented audience too. So it always feels like I'm kind of in the middle of things, but.
How would you describe this album?
Musically, it's more, I think it's on a whole more guitar bass than the one before that. The one before that, I think I did a lot of stuff with synthesizers, and I did a lot of writing with drum patterns, like where the drums would be the first thing that I came up with. Whereas on this one, I think almost everything I started writing on the guitar and everything, even if there's 1 or 2 songs where piano might be like a focus, but and it wasn't really an intentional thing. Like I actually did to start with kind of want to continue what I was doing on the last album, but like if I think too much about things and try to like put a direction on it too early, sometimes I kind of put myself in a box, I guess, which can, I think, not work out so well. So
when you released this new album, you posted it on Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
And you have physical copies?
Yeah.
Did you make those too?
Yep.
What? Did you make them?
Yeah, like.
I just want one more time, because 3 times a charm, and I want people to know this. You made them.
Yep, we made them.
You can fucking make your own CDs, people. Just so you know. So go ahead, talk about that.
So yeah, we my wife Kari did all the cover art and the design for the CD and everything, and then we just bought like some jewel cases on Amazon and some little Memorex inserts and everything, and then my parents have a printer that works for like to print on the CDs and everything, so we kind of hijacked their printer for a couple nights and
That's awesome.
made some.
How many are available for purchase?
I'm actually out of them right now. I have to make up a new batch.
Okay.
That's the last one.
Yay!
But yeah, and well, there's some for sale at the exclusive company in Janesville too. So if you're in
Ooh.
Janesville, you can buy them there. But yeah, we'll have to maybe this weekend at some point make a whole bunch more to sell.
And you have them at the exclusive company?
Yeah.
So how did that, come to be, and will you start setting them out at other places too?
I would like to. I've played there a few times now, and that's where I had my CD release show, and they're very supportive of local artists there. So yeah, I've got some there, and then hopefully gonna get some in some other stores too that'll
So
have them. Yeah.
it just takes a little bit of work. A little bit of work, and you can do it all yourself. But that kind of being said, what other platforms is that album on, or is it just available on Bandcamp?
It's now also on Spotify and iTunes and Amazon and Google Play, all those types. For the digital part of it, I did start going through CD Baby, just because
It breaks my heart.
just because it's difficult to like get onto like Spotify and everything without.
But what about
Any
Record
distributor?
Union? Record Union allows you to keep your publishing rights.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, don't lose your music. God damn it, don't lose your music! What about, and here's something too that I was thinking. So we have a friend in a band called Radical Fun Time. He runs a record label, and he's very open to all sorts of music. It's called Dilapidated Records. Kiff's band now is featured on some of his comps. Have you thought about going out and doing that sort of thing and submitting your music to different compilations?
I haven't with compilations. I did try at one point like sending stuff out to different record labels, and didn't really get much of a response. But yeah, I hadn't thought of it as far as like trying to submit to compilations, but that would probably be something that I think would be nice.
Are you you have a very unique sound, and it very much makes me think of like 80s new wave goth type music, which I think is what you're going for, yeah?
Yeah.
Girls that have the long black hair and that
Or the
affects
very
us.
long teased blonde.
But like with that imagery, or like that sound, are you finding anybody else out there that sounds like that you've come across that's, I want to play a show with them?
Not with my specific sound, and I don't mean that to sound like, oh, I'm so special or whatever, but
It's okay to be. It's okay.
but yeah, I guess I haven't. I mean, there's, I guess, artists that I see online sometimes that are similar. To some extent, I would say more, like when I try to do more of the ambient type thing, I feel like I maybe find more out there that's similar to that, but as far as when I'm kind of in like my Joy Division, Echo and the Bunnymen mode, like I guess I don't feel like I hear as much that's similar to that kind of thing. I mean, maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but yeah, I guess that would be kind of my
So,
impression.
but out in
anyway.
Janesville, that's it.
Yeah.
You are that.
Yeah, I feel like in Janesville, I'm I mean, everyone there definitely has their own unique style. But yeah, I think I kind of have like the Joy Division market sort of cornered down there.
Would you say the Janesville music scene has grown? Because we've seemed to now run across lots of people, and they all know each other.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, are you all just like the scene, or do you think that there has been growth?
It feels like there's been growth, yeah. There's a lot of really good original artists down there, like Cat in the Hurricane, Candace Griffin,
She watched. Cat watched.
Prone to Sorrow, Mystery Mirrors, Carly M,
He's coming on.
and Ed Chapman. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody,
only
and I'm
one
gonna
I've
feel
never heard
really bad about it
Red
later.
Flags.
But yeah, Red Flags.
Mystery Mirrors.
Yeah, Mystery Mirrors.
Oh, did you say that?
I think I did, but
My bad.
just in case if I didn't, Mystery Mirrors. So there's a lot of really good music in Janesville, yeah.
Would you say that the venue space has grown as well? Because I think before, like when we met Kat, she was like, "There's one place we can play."
Yeah, I guess just speaking from my experience, I feel like it's probably about the same. I think most venues probably prefer like cover artists and everything, which is understandable. But yeah, I feel like
But
it's
not acceptable.
How is that understandable? I'm sorry.
I'm just being diplomatic. but yeah, so yeah, I feel like it's pretty similar. It can be a little tough down there to find places that are open to original music, I guess.
Because you brought up Squid, and I know that he's like, Green Bay area, right? Or Appleton? Where the hell is
Sheboygan.
Weather Cafe? Sheboygan. Okay. Fox Valley is like the same thing, right?
I'm bad at geography.
Have you thought about going up there to play? Are you open to traveling? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I would be. It would have to be the right circumstances and planned out well enough, just because my wife and I both, we both work full time and everything, so it would have to be, on a weekend sometime probably, unless if we had the next day off or something. But yeah, I mean, I would like to kind of branch out a little bit.
How about festivals?
Festivals?
Is that like a goal?
Yeah, at some point I did audition for Summerfest this year. Didn't make it, but hopefully next year.
Do you
Not
know who
next year,
Andy
year
is?
after that. But
Andy?
yeah, I think she was one of. I don't know her, but I know I've heard of her.
Yeah, so like I would connect with her
Okay.
to try to do that because she runs the stage.
Okay.
Hey, just so you know. And also, do you know who Party Marty is?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Have you thought about doing his campground
He's
gig
a
thing,
legend.
that big festival?
I was going to ask about doing that this past year, but we had something at the same time. What was it?
When was it?
I think it was in June. Oh, it might have been when we were
Our
in...
wedding?
No, because it was this year.
Oh, this year? Oh,
It might have been when we were in Mexico. So,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, I was. If it had been a different time, I would have asked him about possibly doing that. So next year, or this, yeah, it would be next year, right? I will ask him if maybe it's a possibility to play
I
there.
also think Punk Fest out on the acoustic stage would be good too.
Okay.
Just so you know, because I think that we were talking about this during the break, that there's a lot of crossover. So like we like ska and we like punk and we like metal, but there is a lot of those people in those genres that also gravitated towards that same sound, that 80s new wave, and it was like, oh, I like this as my niche, but I really like this as like a guilty pleasure sort of thing. And so I think too that it would be pretty well received, just so you know.
Okay.
That would be what I would advocate for.
Okay.
I know last time you were here we talked about merch.
Mm-hmm.
How we doing on that?
That's something to still work on. I have the CDs and business cards, but I think stickers is probably the next thing. We have a new logo, which Kari designed, so I'd like to make stickers out of those, and then maybe a couple shirts or something at some point. If I don't know if I would buy them, I could try.
Start with a small batch. I mean, when you made CDs, did you anticipate them all being gone already?
No.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, case point check.
Yeah.
And even if you just started with 10 shirts and brought them or had them available for purchase on Bandcamp, like,
Yeah.
hey, people buy stuff,
Yeah.
especially if they like the music. And I think because you didn't just go make merch first and then release music, there's more clout behind that.
Okay.
So, and if you can make your own CDs, I'm sure you can do stickers too,
Yeah.
right? That's what fancy printers are for.
Yeah.
They work so good. So since now completing this, what goals or things lie ahead for you, upcoming shows? Do you have anything started as far as a new album? Because you seem to just pump music out.
So, I've got a couple shows planned coming up. I'll be playing at Tin Dog Records in Beloit with Ed Chapman for his release show. And then also Sherman Park in Milwaukee. I'm gonna plan on keep booking shows. I think towards the winter months I'll probably start working more on the new album. I've kind of already started on it, just sort of with writing, and there's like a couple ideas that I've sort of had for a while that I've never gotten around to because I always get kind of distracted with something else. So I'm kind of toying with certain ideas I've had for a while and maybe like making it a little different than what it was. But yeah, I would say definitely over the next couple months I'm gonna focus on writing probably, and then once it gets warm again and travel's a little easier, probably at that point like really focus on shows too.
I'm like, I want you to have new music, like more of it soon because it's so good. Can you kind of hint at, will it be the same style or will you go in a completely different direction and bring us something completely new?
So I think, and it's like, since it's early in the process, like I do have to, like, I feel like I'm sort of gravitating to certain ideas, but I at the same time want to make sure I don't get too drowned, too kind of tunnel vision-y with those. I would say I think it's going to be sort of similar, a little different though. That's a terrible answer. But
it was kind of good, but it was bad.
but at the same time, I guess I feel like that's sort of the best thing I could say. Like I kind of want to feel like I'm still moving forward. Like I don't want to like make the same album again or feel like I'm just copying myself or whatever. But I think there's a couple things that I'm sort of tossing around, which I don't know, it's possible none of this will even be on any new album ever, but like some of it was sort of based in stuff that I wrote when I was maybe, more on the folky end of things. But I kind of want to sort of like experiment with that sort of thing, but also making it more towards like my more recent sound, more post-punky, maybe more shoegazy and dream poppy, and just kind of seeing how that works. So it'll be different, but I don't think it'll be like a complete direction change or anything either.
Do you think that as far as a goal for yourself that there is like, something that you would ever break out of your shell and say, okay, I'm gonna pick this genre just for fun and try to write an album for it?
I've thought about doing that, and I would have to, because there was one song that didn't make it on the last album where I was kind of trying to fool around with a sort of jazzy type of deal, which was sort of influenced by Black Star, David Bowie's last album, just because how he had it wasn't jazz or anything, but he had like a jazz band that he saw that he was really impressed by, and he had them record his stuff for that album. So like I was kind of influenced by that, and I guess the wall that I sort of ran into is I don't listen to enough jazz, I guess, to feel like I could like write an album in that vein without it, somebody who like is a jazz musician being like,
You're
what the
gonna
hell?
run into that anyway. Jazz musicians are just like that.
So, but yeah, I mean, I would like to, and I do want to branch out and everything, and it's always kind of just a struggle of wanting to branch out and try new things, but also making sure that it's authentic and not that it sounds like I'm just like, taking something that I don't understand or, kind of like that. Just, I don't know how else to say it, I guess, but.
So I know that we're approaching like the top of the hour. Quick rundown of where people can find you, social media platforms, things you want to highlight, that sort of thing.
So yeah, you can find me on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify.
The new album's on Spotify.
Yeah, the new one's on Spotify now.
I know what I'm listening to tomorrow on my drive.
And then Facebook, technically Tumblr, but I don't really do a whole lot with that anymore. And then also Twitter. I'm always like, I'm gonna really try to start using Twitter like a normal Twitter user, and then it always kind of fizzles out. But I'm hoping, I can't make promises because it's like the millionth time I've said it, but I'm hoping to have a better Twitter presence.
You're on Instagram.
Yeah, I am on Instagram, yes.
YouTube?
YouTube, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube and Instagram as well.
Gotcha. So, what would you say is the best platform? Like, which one do you feel is most successful or that you focus on the most?
Probably Facebook and Instagram, I would say I tend to focus on the most. I do want to start doing more with YouTube, coming up with different cover videos. I've done a couple, and then different performances of my own songs and stuff like that, just to try to reach more people.
When you've done shows out and about, has anybody recorded those?
Little bits and pieces here and there, I think. Not, or are we talking, do you mean like
recorded, like did you set up
like
a
professionally?
Not
professionally,
but like somebody recorded you and said, here's the video. Like,
no, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm just curious as to what, if there's a difference between you playing in a basement and you out at, say, the exclusive company, what that difference is. if there is a difference, you know, some people in their element, like, this is a different element than being out on stage, I would say.
Yeah,
There's less mold. Maybe.
yeah, I suppose it's a little different, like, when there's, like, more people and stuff. But I do find, like, I kind of, at this point, like, sometimes I don't know, I don't even notice what's going on around me. Sometimes I just kind of get kind of in my own, I don't know, it's cliche, but my own zone or whatever, where it's, you know, I just am kind of focused on the music and everything's just kind of turned inward, I guess. So in some ways it's, you know, not all that different, I guess.
Gotcha. So that concludes our interview portion of the show. You can check out Elmer and the Ceramic Trees on multiple social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Spotify, YouTube. Here on the show, you can go back and watch, because we have the last year's video as well. You can check that out on our YouTube, so you can hear the difference between one album and the next. And your show in Beloit, day and time and location. One more time for them.
It's at Tin Dog Records in Beloit. The music will start at 7, and I'm playing with, I should probably say the date.
Yeah. I would have recapped that had it been mentioned.
It's Friday, October 18th, and it's for Ed Chapman's CD release show.
But come to see him play.
Yeah, come see us, yes.
October 18th, Tin Dog Records. I've never heard of that. In Beloit. So, thank you very much for joining us.
Yep, thanks for having me again.
Can't wait till the next is done so we can have you back.
Thank you.
Stay tuned, I guess, and pay attention, because Sunday night we start again at Union Park. Our own crew member, Josie Spoons, Miss Denise, is going to be playing with Old Wolves to kick things off. And then next Thursday we have the Brash Menagerie joining us. So thank you very much for watching. Click like, do that share thing. Like his page, Elmer and the Ceramic Trees. Okay, thanks, bye.
Bye.
Come on.